Kate Berkner here today with Dr. Tom Phelan, author and creator of 123 Magic and the author of The Manager Mom Epidemic. Dr. Phelan, welcome.
Good morning, Kay.
How are you doing today?
Well, another day plowing through COVID, but doing pretty good.
Yes, true story. So everybody, we were actually going to do this yesterday and my internet was like, no, that's okay. I don't want to work today. So you're getting us a day late, but hopefully not at all or short. Today we are going to be talking about self-esteem. And Dr. Phelan, I was hoping that we could start by having you tell us exactly what self-esteem is. I think the term gets used a lot, but kind of starting out from a place of common understanding would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's true. And there have been thousands and thousands of books and articles written about self-esteem in the last 100 years. And the net effect seems to be that our kids are becoming more self-centered, narcissistic, and we're going the wrong direction. So I think self-esteem, and I think this is a helpful point of view, self-esteem, I think, is a human instinct, like a lot of other mental modules that we have or mental mechanisms that we have. And it helps us to evaluate moments in our life that have to do with mastery, with competence, with doing things the correct way, and so on. And so when we have a good session or do something well, self-esteem makes us feel good. When we do something bad, self-esteem makes us feel bad. And it goes on and off during the day. So it's not on all the time, but it's there. And so parents will see, sometimes they'll see a good self-esteem moment, sometimes a bad self-esteem moment. But a lot of that is realistic, that the kids are looking at something that they blew it and they feel bad, or they did well and they feel very proud of themselves. So I think the long and short is it's a mental instinct.
Okay, great. So where do kids get their sense of self-esteem from? You mentioned that kids are having kind of higher and higher instances of overconfidence and narcissism and self-centeredness. Where does a sense of self-esteem for a kid come from?
Well, it comes most directly from, you can look at several aspects in a child's life. One is competence, and with kids, that's often academic competence. That can be a big thing, and so that'll be a self-esteem bottom line. It also comes from physical skills. That can be another self-esteem thing that's being evaluated. A big part of it is how well you get along with other people. And you think of a child's life, there's a whole bunch of other people, to get along with. So that's a contributor. So really, we should be talking about self-esteems plural rather than singular. Because it's hard to add it all up and come up to you'd almost have to do a mathematical formula to come up with a total conclusion about yourself. But kids try and adults try, and that's called global self-esteem, which is a periodic wild guess as to my total competence or worth.
I see. So you talked about competences. One thing that I wanted to bring up that I think doesn't impact very young kids as much, but definitely maybe impacts, kind of preteens and teenagers. How does physical appearance play into self-esteem?
Yeah, that's a good question. Physical appearance is the wild card, because when I talked about competence before, we're talking about a lot of things like how you get along with other people, physical skills, and academic skills. A lot of that has to do with how hard you work and so on. But one of the most disturbing things for a lot of people was research findings, tons of research findings that show that the highest predictor of global self-esteem for everybody is perceived physical appearance, is what they think they look like. And that was true of kids, it was true of old people, it was true of conduct disorder children, it was true of everybody, 12 different countries. And we're talking about a substantial correlation there. And so that bothered a lot of people because they thought, wait a minute, that's more a matter of luck than anything else. And then parents are fumbling all over themselves saying, well, how am I going to deal with this? Some people just said that's wrong. It shouldn't be that way, but that's one of the factors, and it's a big one.
Yeah. And I think particularly in Western culture, we're very much focused on things being pretty, and the media very much does not help to support a move away from physical appearance as a measure of self-esteem, just because of all of the airbrushing and the photoshopping and sort of the unrealistic standards that are put out there, for both men and women. I saw something on Facebook the other day about Rihanna's new clothing line had posted some more kind of body realistic styles for men using male models who were not like washboard abs.
Right.
And guys were having a very emotional reaction to that, and an emotional reaction to the feedback that they were hearing that other people thought that particular model who looked like them was attractive. So it was a conversation about representation, but I think that it speaks to how much the media kind of tells us that you have to look a specific way in order for other people to think that you're attractive.
It's definitely out there, and part of that is not only the makeup and the clothes you put on, but it's the people that are selected to begin with to be in the movies, to be in the commercials, to be on the sitcoms and so on. And there's been a little bit of a trend away, I think, recently in commercials to having there's been more less attractive people in commercials than there used to be. But there's a definite selection procedure that goes in there so that if you watch TV, you kind of think everybody's pretty or everybody's handsome, and that's not the case.
I, as a parent, I have a daughter. We were just talking about unrealistic beauty expectations, which can absolutely impact boys and men. But I think that the conversation around it tends to be around the impact that it has on women and on girls.
Right.
So, obviously there are some things that I can't change. I can't change the messages that she's seeing necessarily. But what impact can I, as a parent, have on my child's self-esteem and on helping them learn to build a positive sense of self-esteem, as they grow up?
Well, you look at where self-esteem comes from, and we'll table the physical appearance thing for a second. But so the question is, it's self-esteem's plural. Okay, so one is going to be academic. So what can you do to help them academically? And there are a lot of different ways of doing that. One might be to have a structured homework time. Another might be to help them become more independent doing their homework. You want to model for them interpersonal skills in how you get along with them yourself. That's one of their basic models for interpersonal relationships. And you might want to give them feedback periodically about their relationships with friends or something like that. You might support involvement in sports activities and that kind of thing. So whatever self-esteem based on, remember self-esteem is plural, whatever it's based on, you can have some impact with. The problem is the physical appearance. And I think there's a very simple solution to the physical appearance one. It may sound kind of funny, but there's a don't and a do. The don't is don't lie to your kids. If they're not the best looking person in the world, don't tell them that they look pretty or they look handsome when they don't. Also, don't try and transform the notion of beauty from physical to a characterological sphere. A lot of people say, beauty is superficial. Real beauty is inside. Real beauty is your character and all that. That's not true. That's not the way the real world is built. It sounds good. It's good poetry, but it's false. But the real savior to me for the physical appearance is you say, it makes a difference to me. People are competitive, and it makes a difference to me how I look in relation to other people. Okay, well, we'll accept that. So now we answer the question, how many people, what percentage are pretty and handsome? And to me, the answer is less than 5%. So if I think I'm not particularly good looking, I'm part of the big club. I've got so much company, it's not funny. But that hurts. I wish I were pretty or handsome and part of that 5%, but I'm not. But I'm part of this other group. I mean, that's oversimplifying it, but I think it helps some of the time. It's very blunt, but I think it's honest, and I think it's very reassuring, because as you were saying before, they see these models all the time that everybody who looks just wonderful, they compare themselves to that. Well, that's a mistake. Most people are not like that. So it's kind of stupid to compare yourself to that. Yeah, you would like to look like that, but you don't.
Got it. So what is the kind of the biggest truth that you would want parents to understand about self-esteem or self-esteems in their kids?
I think the bottom line on self-esteem is that self-esteem is a byproduct of a life well lived. So if you are getting along well with other people, you are competent, and so on. You could be average, good looking and all that, and that'll hurt you some of the time, and that'll bother you. But you want to live a good life. You want to learn how to have fun and so on. It's a byproduct of a life well lived. And remember, some self-esteem comes and goes and comes and goes. And you want to enjoy the times when self-esteem is not there. So when you're paddling down a kayak down a river, or eating a good pizza, or at the movies, your self-esteem instinct is not operating. And those are real nice times.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Valen, for this conversation. I'm sure that it's a thing that a lot of parents think about and worry about, especially as their kids start to get into that kind of older elementary age, where there is more kind of awareness of sort of how they're showing up in the world. And there's a lot of changes and a lot of transitions. So good to know kind of what the contributing factors there are and how we as parents can have a positive impact there. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
If you know someone who needs to hear this, please share this video with them or tag them in the comments. If you're not already signed up, please head on over to 123magic.com to sign up for our newsletter, where we send out weekly videos, parenting tips, sometimes downloads. 123magic.com, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.